on this computer. Okay, welcome to Coffee and Miracles. So, everybody, this is my husband. This is take 2. We tried to do this once before and it didn't actually record. Actually, what I'd like to do is check to see if this is indeed recording. If I am live on Facebook. And y'all can just say hi if you're live with me. Yeah, you are. Okay, good. I just want to make sure. Okay, so this is a very, very special one because this is something we tried recording this before and somehow it didn't work, but it looks like it's working right now. So I just wanted to share with you, this is a huge story. So first of all, we heard about, I started my weight loss in 2020 in March. And then what month did you follow?
August, I think.
Yeah.
For sure, August.
And so I helped him lose 60 pounds. He had been overweight his entire life, basically, and had lost little and so forth, but never actually got healthy. And I was really scared for him because he had very high blood pressure and diabetes. Yeah, blood sugar was really bad. So we were both, when you lost the 60 pounds, we were excited because we thought, we're done.
Of course, my blood pressure dropped. Never took anything for it. I'm very much against taking medication in general. Always been that way. And
but you did try some of the medication.
I took some Metformin for a while there. It didn't feel good. And the doctor said, you don't want to take this too long anyway, because it's not good for your so so I really didn't take much of it for an extended period of time. And I don't know what I was thinking.
Well, you kept telling me, I'm going to lose the weight. I'm going to lose the weight.
Yeah.
And you tried lots of
working out. I mean,
yeah, a lot. And it was making a little dent.
Yeah. But still, I mean, the weight was always there in high school. But I got to the point where at one point I was 270 or so pounds, and and again I worked out over the years and was actually trying to cut down on my food and food intake, and I did lose some weight, but it kept coming back, and it wasn't until
it wasn't enough
program that I actually lost the weight. So we thought, okay, great, this is awesome. My blood pressure is down to under even 120 or 80, so my blood sugar was within normal range, slightly elevated, but again, no, never took any medication for it.
Yeah,
really.
So we're thinking, yeah, we're great. I wasn't worried about him anymore, and then one day.
Remember the eye thing?
Yeah.
Well, so in March this year, I woke up
right before your birthday.
A few days for my birthday, I woke up without being able to see out of my right eye, basically. Just a lot of things in the way there, and really long story short, we ended up going to the emergency room at 5 in the morning.
2 emergency rooms.
They told me there was 2 because they told me that it was. I was concerned that it was a retinal detachment.
They were too.
That is bad. Oh, they said no. It looks like a bitch. You're not ophthalmologist, if it gets worse, go to another emergency hospital because they have
an ophthalmologist
tools and an ophthalmologist and call, et cetera, et cetera. But okay, if not, you can wait till Monday. We'll see. Okay, fine. And then it started getting worse and worse throughout the day, and where I so later that evening around 6 o'clock, we went to the other emergency room at a big hospital.
2 emergency rooms.
And and long story short, they brought an ophthalmologist, and they said, you have retinal diabetic retinopathy. So you definitely need to see a retina guy because I can't see back there. There's so much blood in the vitreous. So, anyway, Long story. Went to a retinal specialist the following week, and he said, "Okay, I can't see any retinal detachment, but you definitely have you're in trouble here. You know, your diabetes is catching up to me." And I was like, "Well, what happened?" I mean, no, at the hospital they actually took blood sugar, and this was in the afternoon. After I had eaten, and it was like 110, the glucose level. So
We're like,
it wasn't
what?
really bad, right,
Yeah.
at all. So, but in any event, so as it turns out, he ended up giving me a shot right in the eye, which is great. She loves it. Nice stuff. Then went back the following week for some laser work on it. He was cauterizing a lot of the
Blood
abnormal
vessels.
blood vessels that had, grown, etc. So
That could burst.
and it was still bad. He said it's gonna take a while. Just gravity alone will cause the blood to diminish. And actually, within a few days, it got a little better. But the
But
day after
then,
that, yeah, that laser, not lasers, not lasers, some surgery or some kind that they do. I got really bad, and for
and
a
you
while
couldn't
there,
see.
I couldn't see.
Yeah.
And it got worse and worse and worse. So ended up having to have a he actually went in there and just basically took everything out, all the bad stuff, completely drained the eye of the vitreous fluid, put in a gas bubble in there and whatnot, which anyway,
This is not fun.
Yeah, especially for her because she the thought of anything
Anything to do with eyes. I figure if God had intended for us to have things in our eyes, he would not have invented eyelids. So to me, anything with the eye, I mean, I remember him saying, he was going in to have the shot and is like, "You want to come?" No. I said, "I'll sit right here outside the room and wait for you. I love you, but
that wasn't fun. Anyway, so as it turned out, the tracheotomy doctor and this doctor this for 3 years, and he's done sad. Actually, it's one of the worst he's ever seen in his life. He actually got pictures taken and whatnot, so we can tell us.
colleagues, yeah.
Really bad. But and he had done an ultrasound just 3 days before. His concern again was any kind of attachment, and even with the ultrasound, he said, "No, you don't have any attachments." Turned out the blood was so thick, even the ultrasound would not detect it. But I had several tears along my retina. Had any at all, and he was concerned that it wouldn't. But miraculously,
you had like 5 different surgical procedures the last time. Yeah.
So, but yeah, I'm happy to say that I can see in another surgery because cataract to grow and it's growing rather quickly.
Yeah, because usually he said it's between a year and 2 years after the surgery. And I guess it's because yours is one of the worst cases he's ever seen. I guess it formed almost immediately after the surgery.
Yeah, and it's getting bad, right? I mean, I can't. Right away before this is beautiful. I can actually pull my left eye and I can actually see. I couldn't drive this one. But it is definitely deteriorating. But the good news there, I thought that was right.
Yeah.
As a result of this, I had problems with my eyes all my life. I have keratoconus in my right eye, which means my cornea is shaped like a football rather than regular curved cornea. So what they do nowadays is when they have cataract surgery, they'll put in a non-intraocular lens, which is actually going to make me see better than I ever have in my life. After all this, I mean, that's kind of a miracle.
Yeah, how God works, and
So, but that hasn't happened yet. I still have to.
He has to wait.
And he wants me to wait a little longer. Just the longer he waits, the safer it is. So, okay, I can see. Yeah, one point is that was not.
No.
Not about having my weight under control and having my blood sugar well under control.
Because tell them how old you are.
Well, I'm 61, but since I've had my A1C checked since March, a couple of times just to make sure that everything's okay. And I'm not even pre-diabetic. Under control, 5.4 without any medication or anything.
Yeah. And I see this all the time with my clients, because when you get your nutrition under control and you're eating the right things at the right times, I've seen blood pressure, blood sugar go down, medication, come off of medications. I mean, so that was not something I didn't expect. But what was shocking, after getting him to the point where he is healthy and he's not even pre-diabetic anymore, he had to deal with this. So our question was, what happened? He got healthy, and so the doctor told us that this damage to his eyes was done 10 or 15 years ago. 2020 was just 3 years ago.
Yeah, but look at those people who were in the.
So I started asking questions. I'm like, oh, it must be because he didn't take medication and get his diabetes and his blood pressure, the numbers right. And
Back in the day.
back in the day. So I met people while I was waiting for him to have his injection in his eye. I was talking to a couple of people outside, and they were saying they had exactly the same thing happen. And I said, oh, so you weren't taking medication for blood pressure and blood sugar? And they said, oh no, both of them said they were taking blood pressure, blood sugar, their numbers were perfect. And it still happened. And I thought, well, if your numbers are fine and the medication is working, why on earth would you wake up blind in one eye and need all of this? So I asked the doctor, and I asked different doctors and nurses, and they all said the same thing. Just because you're taking the medication does not mean you've, solved the problem. Right. The issue is you still have diabetes, you still have high blood pressure, you just have it under control. The underlying disease is still there. And the thing that really shocked me is not just even that was like big enough right there, but that the damage that you have happened to your eyes, you don't even know. And he told us that it typically shows up around 60, 61, and he was 2 weeks shy of being 61. So what I wanted to do as in closing, I mean, thank you all for your prayers, because this has been just amazing series of miracles, things we did not even expect to happen, because that doctor, his retinal specialist said, he wasn't sure he could really help him this much.
And the way that even happened, how I wound up going to that doctor. Referred to a different doctor from the hospital, referred me to a different doctor. And for insurance reasons, whatever, I wasn't able to get into that. Wasn't on the plan or whatever they on another occasion, I was there for a follow-up visit, and they found, or I was talking to a woman who was there, also another patient, and it turns out that she had gone to that other doctor that I had been referred to, and they botched up her treatment to the point where she literally lost her eye. She had
a glass eye.
And I could have ended up there. Not that it would have happened to me, but right?
Yeah.
But the point is, I ended up not going there, ended up going to this other doctor.
Yeah, he's absolutely amazing. And but one thing in closing that I wanted you to share, because for me, I was really trying to get him healthy for many years, because I didn't want him to leave. We've been married 36 and a half years. We've known each other for 42 years. I don't want him to leave me yet. But it's what drove home for me now is how much earlier people need to think about health. Because the reason you didn't think about it that seriously is because you were young.
Yeah, you don't think about it. I mean, by the time I was in my 40s, I thought about why I exercised, and I went to the doctor and tried to get medication or whatnot. But
what is your advice for people who are young?
Oh, do it now. I mean, I see all these 20-year-olds when you're in 22, forever I have time to revert there, right? Well, you kind of don't really have to address it early. What's going to happen? I mean, age gives you wisdom, is what they say, right? Why they say that? Because so yeah, if you're young and you're overweight, address it now. It's not going to go away.
Some things you can reverse, like his blood pressure and the blood sugar. He was able to reverse that. He does not need to be on medication, and his numbers are great. But some things you can't reverse, and some things may either make your life much more, I mean, he could have been blind in that eye. And by the way, it was starting to form in the other eye.
Well, yeah, boy, I definitely have some there. They're just under watching them, right? And there's nothing abnormal to the point where
Needs
it's
to
a
be addressed.
concern, right? And that really scared me. That's my good eye. And it's not, you said you have a number, it's under control and all that, but even if you go get medication again, that's why I brought up the point of those people in the waiting room there,
Yeah.
because even if your numbers are normal because you're taking medication, doesn't mean that you're healthy. It means that some drug is suppressing things so that you
Some of the
get
symptoms.
some of the symptoms so that you think you're okay, but in reality you're not. So really, that's what I mean, I'm really into health, exercise, and whatnot now. And hey, it's never too late, right? Even if you're
Right.
not in your 30s or 20s or whatever, it's never too late to do something about it. But I don't care how young you are. If you have, a son who's 24, he's a picture of health, right? We encourage him to eat properly and exercise, not because it's very easy to not. And then,
Yeah. Anyway, so we wanted to bring that to you, and thank you all for your prayers, and we'll see you next week.
thanks.